So hello, it's Sunday the 2nd of February and it's about 1 o'clock in the vegetable garden. It was quite bright and sunny, but it's clouded over a bit now and a bit chilly. So one of my gardening resolution for this year is two things: to be more organised, to do more planning, and to keep better records. So something that I have done, and we can see here, this is my plan for the year and what I'm going to grow where, and also there's a bit of succession planting in it. So I thought we'd just have a look around the vegetable garden and I'll tell you what's going where, and then we'll see how well I actually stick to it. So the first thing you can see is that I mapped the beds out. They've all got numbers. But the numbers are only in my head really and on the plan, but I was given for Christmas a tool that burns patterns into wood. So I thought I would come round the beds and try and just burn into the edges the numbers. I've also, just while I've stood here, had another idea, and I quite like painting on stones, and there's a stone there. I could find some big stones and put the numbers on those as well. Anyway, let's start at the beginning. So this is bed number 1, which is we're on the right, so the path, that's the path down the middle there. So this is bed number 1, and last year that had 2 tripods of beans in it, and this year it's going to have leeks. So I really struggle to grow leeks. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but I'm determined to try harder this year and be a bit more focused about it, because we do eat quite a lot of leeks through the winter, so that would be a great crop to have. So that's my thinking for that bed, is that's leeks. Thinking about that, I might just have a think and see if there's something I could put in before that for a bit of succession. Anyway, this one is bed number 2, so you can see the compost bins over there. So that's where the potatoes were last year, and this year that's going to be salad. And I've been reading and looking at Charles Dowding's websites and reading the books of his that I've got, and he says that he only sows lettuce 3 times a year. So I thought, right, my salad bed, I'll sort of divide it into 3 in my head, and that's what we'll do 3 times a year. So raise them as plugs in the greenhouse and bring them out and pop them in. So we'll see how that goes. So this one is bed number 3, and what we can see still in there. So this was salad last year, and in there we can see there's a bit of it's oriental greens. There's mizuna and mibuna and something else I can't remember. It's being attacked by flea beetle, but it's still edible. We're still eating that. So that's what was there last year with salads, and this year that's going to be the first of the bean beds. So a couple of tripods of beans. This one is bed number 4, and I tried to grow leeks in there last year, but that was quite a failure. But this year I'm going to put a couple or maybe 3 courgette plants in there. So last year I had courgettes down in the forest garden, which was great, worked fine, but I've got room for them up here, so I'm going to put my courgettes up here. Bed number 5, we can see here, is the one with the stakes in. And the stakes are for, that's where the dahlia plants go. So I put dahlias in there last year from Sarah Raven. It was the first year I'd grown them, and they were brilliant. Lots of late summer flowers, they were great. I lost a couple early on, so I think there's 7 stakes and I only had 5 plants. I lost a couple early on to slugs, so I'm going to replace those. And the dahlias aren't actually in there now, they're all tucked up in the greenhouse being overwintered, which is something I've not tried before, so let's hope they survive. We'll find out soon enough, I suppose. This is bed number 6, which was the second bean bed last year, and that's where my potatoes are going this year. And yesterday was potato day, so I've got my spuds now, and if you hear the cat mewling, we've got a myrtle come to join us. So I bought my potatoes yesterday, so I need to get those onto chit later on. So bed number 7, as we step down a level. So yeah, the vegetable garden's got 2 levels, there's steps there. Cat on the steps. So this is bed number 7, which last year was flowers. I think it was mostly cosmos and some sweet peas. That's going to be the second bean bed this year. And then the rest of the beds are perennial. So this is bed 8 and that's bed 10 there. So this one's black currants and that one's red currants. And then underneath the black currants I've got loads of calendula. There'll be seeds all in the gravel and everything popping up soon, so I'll let the calendula grow underneath the black currants. And underneath the red currants I'm trying to cultivate that's poached eggplant, limnanthes, and I want more of that, so I probably need to buy some more seeds and spread that out a bit. And obviously these cages, see there, the cage, get covered in net to keep the birds off the fruit. So that's bed 8. 9 is black currants. No, 8 is black currants, 10 is red currants, and 9 over here, this is bed 9. This is my strawberry bed. So this again I've divided into 3 in my head, there's no real barrier. So this end, this first third I planted up first, and then this middle bit I planted the next year, and then that bit that's covered in black plastic, that will get planted this year. I've actually taken lots of runners off the plants that are this end. They're in the greenhouse and I'll use them this spring to fill the gaps and to plant up the plastic end. So that's the strawberry bed. Then bed number 11 is here, and this is globe artichokes. So these were tiny little plug plants last spring that have gone in, so they're doing really well, and I'm hoping this year these are going to be up above my head. So, and then finally this bed's actually quite shady, because that way's west, so we're shaded by the hedge in the afternoon, and that's south, and again we're quite close under the hedge. And it's a bit of a mismatch in here, so there's a rosemary plant and there's some asparagus, there's quite a lot of sorrel, but you know, just the signs of early spring. If I squat down here we can see the rhubarb coming up beautifully, and the cat trying to brush my hand, which is helpful when I'm filming, thank you puss. So the rhubarb, and then there's a different variety of rhubarb just in there, you can just see it starting to shoot, so that is looking good. Now a couple of other things I want to grow that I don't have space for in here. So I do like to grow some sweet peas. I've got some sweet pea seeds which I'll be sowing in a few weeks, and I haven't actually included, apart from the dahlia bed, any more flowers in the plans this year. I often find with the sweet peas I'm struggling to get down to pick them when I'm working in the week, so I thought I'll put them nearer the house. So I'm going to put them in the ornamental garden. I need to get some structure for them to grow up that will look pretty, but I think there's somebody quite local to me does lovely willow structures, so I need to get in touch with her and source myself some of her lovely willow supports. And other stuff that I like to grow is, let's just go down into the forest garden. Sweet corn. I love sweet corn, and homegrown sweet corn is so much better than anything you can buy. So this is the forest garden. It's very young, so there's still quite a lot of open space in it, so I'll put the sweet corn in here for now. These piles of straw, you can see what I've been doing every time I move the chooks, and I've moved them this morning. I then mulch the space that's left with cardboard and then straw. So sweet corn will go in one of those spaces. There's a second one over there. There'll be a few more before we're ready to plant. And the other thing that goes down here is squash. So I love squash. Again, it's one of my favourite vegetables, but they are quite big things, so plenty of space down here for them to ramble and climb. So squash down here. So here's the chickens, been moved this morning. So what I'm going to do now is, this is my plan, except this isn't the plan, this is the photocopy of the plan. And I'm going to staple this to the shed wall inside, so that I don't have to remember to bring the plan down with me or remember where I'm supposed to plant things, because there's one stuck on the shed wall. So that's what's happening now. And while we're down here, I'll just show you very quickly. Keith has worked incredibly hard on clearing this raspberry cage and trying to get it back under control. So it's going to need a lot of work, it's going to need a lot of weeding through the season and mowing and keeping on top of, but you know, if you saw that a few weeks ago, it was an absolute jungle, and now it isn't. So, right, that's the end of filming for now. I'm going to go and prune an apple tree, I think. Cheerio. To very quickly show you how I recycle my plant labels. So I don't know if anyone's ever tried using wooden lollipop sticks as plant labels, which is often recommended on some kind of sustainable living type sites, and it doesn't really work. It looks good to start with, you write the name of the plant on the label, but then the damp over the season, by the end of the season, the plant label, the lollipop stick, has all but rotted, and you certainly can't read what it was you were growing by the time you come to harvest. So I find that these plastic labels really are the best. I get a nice big one that I can write on and I can read without my glasses on. And I just recycle them every year. So you can see some of these, I mean, you can see that the sun has faded it and it's gone a funny brown colour. That's because that's been used for maybe as much as 5 years. So what I do every winter, I get some, this stuff is steel wool or wire wool. And it's quite easily available from DIY shops. Pull a small piece off like that, and I do this on let's see what a mess it's made there. I do this on, you know, some kind of covering on the table, a towel or whatever, because it is quite messy. But all I do is just use the wire wool clean the label. Both sides. It's quite quick to do. So yeah, often what I'll do is, if I don't get round to cleaning them all, I could just cross that out and write on the other side. So some of them have got writing on both sides and some only one. But yeah, you can spend an evening doing this, get the radio on, and it doesn't actually take very long. So I've got a jar full there to do. And that's it. I would be surprised if that lot there takes more than half an hour. So that's it, how I recycle my plant labels.